All right, welcome everybody into the live stream. Got the third one, 3 days in a row coming live to you, and today's a special one. We've got Teodor from ProfileJump, and this is actually kind of cool because I've never had the chance to talk to you outside of about 10 minutes ago.
No, that was our first meeting.
That was our first interaction, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so I guess the audience gets to, in real time, watch two people discover each other and meet and have a conversation.
Discover each other metadata.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so that is the focus of the conversation today. I'm just going to flash this overlay back in case anyone missed it. It is through the lens of metadata, servicing on-chain social signals with ProfileJump. Now, Teodor, before we get into what ProfileJump is, do me a favor and just give a quick little introduction of like who you are and what your background is.
Yes, so I am a founder of the ProfileJump. Hello, everyone. And I am full stack developer, web developer. Basically, I am in the blockchain space since 2017, and with LUKSO since beginning. Yeah, so pretty much for me, blockchain is as a this revolution, and since I understand for the first time what is gonna change in the world, how it's gonna work and interact, I wanted to be part of this revolution. So I started to searching the informations about blockchain, about this technology, and long story short, basically I am since 2017 in this space. I was also working in platform that was called personal tokens, that was using Fabian ERC20 standard to tokenize people. So pretty much one of my friends that I met after I realized the potential of this technology, he built this platform, and that was basically the beginning of my adventure. And later me and my partner, we built a website called Woman on Blockchain. My partner, she was posting over there some articles about blockchain technology. And I joined American think tank that was basically working on connection between the government, democracy, and also agents. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is we were exploring possibility of creating agent that can learn your political thoughts and vote for you in every single political action that is happening.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
This is what we were exploring.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, finding your way into that niche, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. So for me, it was like when I understand fully the potential of this technology, I didn't want to stand like as a just user, or I wanted to be inside of that. So I was searching for different ways to access this world, but from inside. So
yeah. So You just have like really caught my interest here. It's okay. So if you were thinking about having a conversation with an agent where an agent, so me, I have an agent learning how I feel, think about issues, and then it can then vote relative to those issues. It has to have like a really good understanding of
yourself.
So many domains, right? Because like my opinions could be really varied. I mean, there's a lot of data to think about there, right? A lot of context that you have to develop.
Yes, and how to save the votes and everything. So one of sides of this was how to save the data in blockchain, for example, in the way that everyone can, unbiased way, so everyone can see the votes and to save that, it is very interesting. It is very interesting. It might be something that we will face in future. Who knows? But yeah, so it is like right now we have parliament and the government, different governments. So instead, so we are removing here the governments, and we basically our agents vote for each particular case, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a way. This is I didn't know that this is where this conversation was going to go, but I mean, this is
me too, but you asked me about you asked me about my story, so this is kind of my story.
Yeah, don't apologize. This is great. This actually provides a lot of context, right? Because in order to make a system work like you've just described, you have to basically have an incredible handle on that data layer, right? All of the context provided by the individual. There has to be like that verification layer, like to say that this is really my thoughts that are attached to that agent that is making that true expression in terms of a vote. Like there is a lot that goes into that, and that is wow, like you just blew my mind. I mean, I know it's possible, so to speak, theoretically, but the fact you were engaged with a think tank that was doing it, it feels like you're ahead of your time almost.
Also in 2017, my friend he opened this platform, Personal Tokens. It was also very interesting platform. It doesn't exist, I believe, anymore, but he was basically tokenizing people, and so each person could issue their own personal currency. Like imagine like footballer, creating a personal token, and the value of the token grow or decrease in time, if depends on the action of the person. That so that platform was quite unique, and everything was, I believe, based on the ERC20 that Fabian created. But I am not sure of that. But I am pretty much sure of that. So because that wasn't my platform. I was just supporting this.
Yeah. I mean, really, this is super interesting because it provides insight. I mean, we want to get to really the product that you've launched recently called ProfileJump, but I think your background lays an incredible foundation for the discussion of like why that's intriguing and like what these new standards can provide as a foundational layer for a solid foundation that we can build upon. That's awesome. So I guess the question I have for you right out immediately is you have this wealth of experience. You've been around for a while. What limitations did you run up against in that kind of personal token sense with the ERC20 contract? Right, like was it expressive enough?
So at that time, I wasn't very advanced in the blockchain. I was just searching my personal way of entering meet the people and make the connections.
Okay.
I done some smart contract courses, but I felt like like at that stage, then maybe writing contracts is not necessarily for me, because the responsibility that you have by building, programs basically that manage like other people value, money and stuff like that, tokens, can be like it is huge responsibility in my opinion. So
Yeah.
at that stage over there, then I was searching my own way, and then we came to this day that we have the AI, we have multiple tools that allows us to gain the knowledge in different quicker way. So I think I sort of leverage that, and instead of going into the smart contracts, I focused myself more into the node, archive node, and all of the data that you can get from this gigantic ledger that is blockchain, Ethereum, LUKSO, and other blockchains, right? So we have these three sort of informations that waits to just use it in some way. And I was thinking about this like multiple times in past, but I didn't have the tools to build it, right? And with the AI, I could push it forward.
Yeah. So okay, so we I've got a sense for what your background is now, and this informs so much about why we're even here talking today, right? Like why we're interacting with each other. And it is that data layer, right? And
yeah,
what drew you to out of all the layer ones? There's I've got to say, I don't know, thousands at this point. There's so many out there. Why Lux? Like, what about LUKSO really kind of drew you in? Like, why, out of all the choices you could have made, what kind of brought you to LUKSO?
Obviously, I've been listening to Fabian, different speeches and conversations, live streams, and I understand the idea, right? So, and I had the similar feeling like in 2017 when I was searching information about blockchain. What it is? What is it? Scam? Is it legit? What is blockchain? So and at that time, then nobody understood this. Not many people. So I had like similar feeling, yeah, but yeah. And when I understand the power of behind the profiles, that you can have the similar data like on Etherscan, but data that can be read by humans, that was like mind blowing, because I straight away I had this like this is amazing, this is something
Yeah,
very interesting.
yeah, for sure. So Mustafa and I, Mustafa is other DevRel over at UE on Fabian's team. We've been having this internal conversation since I joined about the fact that the metadata layer of LUKSO, the fact that it is organized and standardized, makes for an incredible opportunity for developers to come in and mine that data and analyze that data and express it in really interesting ways, or create experiences in interesting ways that might not be possible otherwise, and that there's a lot of ground that you could potentially cover as a developer, someone who's curious
Yes,
about
absolutely, yes.
this ledger, and you don't even have to write a smart contract to do it. You just have to know how to
Exactly. This
interact
is what
with metadata
this is what I did basically. I didn't want to take part in the smart contract scope. So I, and suddenly I understood that there is a space also on this layer of, front end application.
Yeah.
Incredible. And the data, if you think about the data that you can find in the blockchain, like LUKSO especially, right? And how many different information can you extract from that?
It's significant, frankly.
So when I started building Profile, I had this, it started from, I was searching for some tool that can show me the list of profiles. And I couldn't find anything that, that was something that would make me happy in some way. So I thought like, why not to build something like that? Because this is quite something that should exist in the first place, probably, in my opinion, right? To view all of those profiles.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit shocked that we don't have such a tool.
Yeah.
And I started building this for myself, and then at some stage, I realized that one of the profiles, the number of followers, suddenly grew very quickly, right? And there was some sort of, NFT interaction or airdrop. I can't remember. But then I realized that for me as a creator, it is very useful tool, because I can spot now informations that something happening over there. There's maybe some some action, something like airdrop, for example. Yeah? In that particular case, it was an airdrop.
Yeah.
So I haven't missed it. Normally I would miss it.
In some ways, like you said, you're representing data that you might be able to find on Etherscan, but in a human readable and visual way. It makes it more valuable for that type of information. You don't want to miss the airdrop, or you don't want to miss the mint, right? Like, how do you find it? How do you know what's happening? It's incredible. I want to take the time here to actually just put ProfileJump up on the screen so we can get a sense for really what we're talking about. So if a listener or a viewer doesn't know ProfileJump, you can go to profilejump.com, and I'm actually already logged in here. So Teodor, what am I seeing here? Like, what have you kind of compiled here for this top level dashboard? What were you thinking together?
Just please remember, this is the beta. So some things might, but hopefully everything will be all right. But in the top bar, you can see different statistics, like the amount of aggregated LUKSO in profiles, price of LUKSO, number of profiles. So the amount of staked LUKSO and the value of staked LUKSO. So I'm trying to bring as many statistics about the network as possible, so users don't have to go jump between the different websites, application, and search for this kind of information.
Yeah, you're kind of creating like a dashboard where, as a user, I can come and I can be apprised of all of my relevant all of the relevant information that I may want to monitor, especially if I care about the network, from validators to price, everything in between. And I see you've even got this kind of like calendar system, like almost like an advertisement type board.
Yes, so I've been thinking about monetization of the platform. So I came with this idea that different profiles might want to advertisement their drops or some or even the profiles. So for example, on the right side, you have promoted profiles box. So in future, I'm planning to introduce NFT that will be purchasable on marketplace, where you can buy, for example, place for your profile.
Yeah.
Plus, we could create sort of futures market features, like to sell the future, like let's say advertisement for December. So, and you can trade this, NFT that gonna work in December.
Oh,
So
interesting.
you're creating some sort of future market, yeah, like options or whatever is the name for that. Yeah, so you can resell the advertisements thing spot, in form of NFT.
Interesting. And honestly, this is just the top level. These are just some features you built in, because like the real wealth of what you've done is actually down here, where you're aggregating all of the metadata that's publicly available. And I I think this is super cool. And for someone who might be encountering this for the first time, you yourself didn't require anybody to come onto ProfileJump, create a profile, enter in any metadata tags, or enter in any tags or descriptions or profile pictures.
No,
All publicly available, right?
everything is publicly available. That's correct.
Yeah.
And this is the beauty of this system. If you think about different, government institutions, for example, right? That we could finally, we could create profiles for them, and we could finally see what they're doing with, different assets and how they're spending our, money. Yeah.
How they're spending our tax money. Yeah, right. So I noticed you have the top
because profile can represent human, but it can also represent item or even DAO, right?
Yeah.
Centralized autonomous organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or AI agent as well.
Absolutely. In fact, I think in some ways, I think a universal profile is almost optimized for AI agents.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to take that down so I can see you again, so you're not hidden behind the ProfileJump screen there. So you're effectively just mining public data and creating custom data, like a custom representation of that data that's meaningful to the user on the other side. So the more tooling that you can build in, that you can think of, that allows me to search for specific metadata tags. If I want to know anyone who's labeled themselves as a developer, I can quickly, in from the thousands and thousands and thousands, millions of profiles, find the developers. Or I want to find people who live in my town. Do you live in Boston? If they have that in the description, boom, I should be able to find that. If it's a tag, or if it was in a description, maybe I could even use I could parse that description information and get that pulled out as well. There's a lot of ground that you could potentially cover here. This hits at the core of, I've said it before, I'm being kind of redundant, but that's okay. I'm allowed to do that. I'm the one who's streaming. It is, so many people think that in order to interact with the blockchain, that you have to create a token, that you have to, right? Like, what is blockchain? Oh, it's a token. It's token centric. What are you doing? Oh, I had an NFT, or I have this meme coin. But what we're seeing here is really this uber expressive data layer that they are smart contract standards that standardize the interactions with the blockchain, so you know how to get that data. But with every person that creates a profile, with every piece of data added to a profile, with every custom data key that adds a new layer of information, the experience of something like ProfileJump just becomes more immersive, right?
Yes, and profiles is like a missing piece of that we were missing in other blockchains, in my opinion. So when I was building this, at some point I realized that actually I didn't realize. It was like I was building and I was thinking about new options, new features that I can implement. And at some point I was thinking like, wait a minute, what I'm building here, right? Is it like, Etherscan or something like this? Because I wanted to implement more and more information. And at some point, I realized that I building like sort of blockchain, front-end blockchain discovery layer or something like this.
Yeah. Something that honestly, I mean, you just couldn't do.
You couldn't do that because those addresses on Ethereum or they don't mean anything. Like so okay, you can view some information, but you will forget about that because you cannot you cannot memorize this, right?
Yeah.
But with profiles, you're creating this sort of connection between you and the profiles that you are watching. So and if you display the profiles in the way that they are displayed in ProfileJump, then the entirely new discovery layer open, because you can view profiles and create your own interpretation of the profiles, like which profile is important, or you can find some interesting information based on your own experience,
Yeah, if I wanted to find.
So you can create your own metadata on top of the blockchain metadata, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because without the tool like this, and when you're visiting like single profile, and you don't see this profile in relation to other profiles, you cannot see the difference, if that makes sense. So it's probably hard to explain this, but I will try again later.
No. It is not. It's. I think that this is part of the discovery. Sorry, I got lost there for a second. I'm like, wait a minute. Let me just start querying my followers here, or the people I'm following, and see if I can't pull out the musicians or devs. And apparently, I'm not following people who've added that metadata tag at the moment. However, what it allows, in the context of a social graph and the ability to crawl across that social graph, like something like ProfileJump gives you an incredible tool through which you can like gain that power and ability, because before you have this, the data might be available, but you can't mine it. You can't use it. You can't leverage
exactly. You cannot mine it. And what is mining? It's like probably it's like you're comparing the data between different profiles, and you compare this to your own experience, your own unique experience, and you're finding the right data that you are looking for. So like each person can have something different that is important for each person, and find something important that is completely different.
Do you have a favorite football team?
Right now, well, I don't have I am not like a football fan, but I'm watching sometimes. Barcelona probably.
Okay. Just we don't have to commit. But
Yeah.
let's say you wanted to find. Let's say we had a custom data key that we were going to store our favorite football team, and every
Mhm.
profile could write favorite football. Like, you could come to my mini app that allows you to add your favorite football team to your profile, like just from my mini app. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then once all that data starts getting added, if I want to find all the fans of Barcelona, I could then come to something
Yeah.
like Profile
Yeah.
Jump.
Exactly.
Bam! Now I'm connected
Exactly.
to all of
And
this fan base. Or
absolutely.
if I wanted to target a marketing campaign, I could easily find those people. Or if I wanted to airdrop those people, I can easily find those people. And it's not at the address level, it's at the metadata attached to the address.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's
And
like this. Yeah. Go ahead.
and probably sorry, and probably
Oh,
before
totally.
that was blocked, right? Like by Facebook as centralized, a system that don't share those kind of informations. With this technology now, we can have the access to all of these things that were not possible before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Facebook maybe probably or different companies they're using that data, but for us as a people, it is not easily accessible.
That's right.
But now everything gonna change.
Right. Now you can get your hooks in it and you can use it in ways. Again, I can choose whether or not I want to engage with the favorite football team ads or marketing by just adding the data or not. Right. But it's
Mhm.
clear and transparent. So if I want to label myself some political affiliation, I can do that. And then that could be easily referenced here again with a custom data key. Like, this is when people say own your own identity, manage your own digital presence. That's what this custom data layer is allowing for, this custom metadata that you can attach to the profile. It is profile centric blockchain. It is where the profile and the information tracked about it is more important than the key itself that signs the transactions. That can be swapped out at any time. That's that smart contract piece, the universal profile piece. Um, I see this as being incredibly powerful. And that's why when you first started saying you were part of a think tank that was thinking about how to get an agent to represent me voting in all of these different, let's say, races or like elections. And I was thinking, how do I manage, like, where would I put that context? Right? Like, how do I do it in this kind of responsible way where I'm in control? And that's where I immediately was like, wait a minute, if I had a profile and I could
Yeah.
be in control of what data I'm attaching to the profile, then that seems like a simple solution. Now I know I'm being reductive or it's much more complicated than that. But back then when you were thinking about that, when you were part of that think tank, did you have a profile based solution that was even available to you as a blockchain thinker?
No, and I think I was searching for one, and I that's why I can't remember exactly, but probably that was one of the of things that connect me closer to what Fabian is building.
Yeah, because it
It's
is
obvious. It is quite obvious, yeah.
right. It
After you understand it, which is not easy to go from this Web 2 sort of thinking to the Web 3, right?
Yeah.
But recently I was reading about some information. I don't know if how correct the information is, that in like 15 years we will have half billion of sort of cyborgs walking on the streets, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So if you think about them, they all will need profile.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Maybe some of them will not need the profile, but some of them might have.
Well, I think again, when we think of the profile as a container for an identity, and that identity doesn't have to be my license or my passport. The identity can be the collection of the data attached to me, or the collection of relevant information which is needed to define the shape of the entity that I am. Then a sideboard could be defined as a universal profile, or a profile with the relevant data attached. That could be the maintenance schedule. That again could be automated agentically. It could be insert your favorite task here, right?
In ProfileJump, ProfileJump was created also because I didn't like this concept of artificial ranking. Like because there was some conversation in some groups that how we gonna create like social score or something like this.
Yeah.
And I maybe I didn't catch it well, but if you build like social ranking with your own algorithm, it is cool. It might work. It is something that probably is worth of having. But we as a humans, we have our own algorithm, right? That are we talking to each other, and we read our information about ourselves, about the people that we talk with, and we create this sort of ranking. Maybe ranking is not the best word. And so in ProfileJump, I wanted to be as natural as possible. So the people, then they can create their own sort of discovery, ranking, to give the meaning to the profiles, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So looking at your interface here, you have profiles, tokens. Is I'm assuming like a trending hot profile?
Yes,
Trending?
you can press it, and this was created for to be able to discover profiles that are hot, obviously.
Yeah.
But because I had the feeling that we don't have such a tool. So if someone's grid, for example, is very nice, or something happened over there,
Yep.
then there was no way for other people to know about it, right?
Right. So
I was hoping that this is gonna help users to to discover the profiles that are hot in this particular moment, right?
gotcha. So right now you have pre-selected queries up here where I can just select by just profiles, or the LSP token, the 7 tokens that are available. That's what it looks like to me.
Yes.
The hot profiles, who I'm following, the people who are following me. Yes. And then up here, you have that custom search bar, which allows me to search by name, address, or hashtag. So as I'm reading this, that's what I was screwing up before. There we go. With the hashtag, now I can find anybody who's labeled themselves a dev, right?
Yes. In your followers list.
Yeah, in my followers list there.
Yeah.
Or I could come out here and I could go across the entire social graph, I'm going to call it a social graph because it is truly a social graph.
Yeah, of course.
Of addresses, and it's over 29,000. What is it? 29,000 right now. So, as the network grows, you basically have this incredible discoverability across every potential profile. So, right now the tags are not standardized. You can put anything you want for a tag, but if you added some standardization around tagging, then it makes discoverability even more expressive, right? Like, as I'm thinking of this, because you were like, people want social ranking or reputation. They want to know what's going on out there, right? So if you were part of the Save the Whales DAO, so to speak, right? And you found that was Teodor, you're part of saving the narwhals, and I think that's valuable. And there was a tag for it. I could discover that very quickly with the search, and I would know then everybody who shared a similar value to you, and that would be really interesting. And then, like you said, in this ranking system, the social ranking, that's important to me, where my neighbor doesn't care about the narwhals.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, exactly. So you creating your own space in your mind, your own discovery.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is not like algorithmic thing that telling you this guy is very important. Yeah, you decide who is really important.
Yeah, you decide who's important to you. And I think
I
think what would be really cool would be if there was a way to then maybe do like these cross tag comparison, who's an artist and a developer, right? Like add 2 tags at once, and
there are, the possibilities are endless, are really endless.
Yeah, like you said, it's a beta. It's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning.
Just the beginning. I think it's super cool.
Plus, you have information that we can extract that are not in the blockchain, but you can basically interpretate them. Like, okay, we have 30,000 profiles. Each profile has like let's say 100 LUKSO.
Yeah.
So in total, in the profiles, we have, I don't know, 300,000 of LUKSO. Yeah? So we can give the sense to the information that we take from the blockchain. So the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. So oh yeah. Now you could attach. I mean, if you wanted to, you could add in like an AI system to this. We are actually then going to use that artificial intelligence to then synthesize maybe multiple data points, a myriad of data points, to try to extract trends, try to create your own custom algorithms for people that you're trying to follow. All of this is possible off of public data, which is wild.
You could create your I planning to implement something like your own table. Like you can select the people the profiles that you like, and create your own tables, and maybe add some information to this, and notification system that not necessarily have to be on Web3.
Yeah.
We can now build this on Web 2, right? Use the Web 2, and you will receive some text message that oh, this guy, the followers number growing.
Sure, his follower number went down. Or when you start to think about what's possible with LUKSO, you could be paying attention. You could say, here are the 10 address. Here are the group of profiles that I'm really interested in, and I want to know if that profile sells Lux. And then when I see the on-chain event, I'll, through universal receiver, issue a text message. I get a text message notification or a telegram or something like that.
Absolutely.
And now I'm that reactivity to the on-chain action is now giving me an experience that is like really powerful, interesting, immersive, all of those words.
Yeah. And this became even more interesting when you have your own way how to discover AI agents, the profiles behind which we have AI agents. Because then you can see like, oh, this AI agent doing very good job. He, growing, the amount of LUKSO is growing, earning, more money. I want to follow this AI agent, yeah?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for me, there is just problem to um, how I will interpretate which profile is human and which profile is the agent, right? So to display them in the different tables.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And yeah.
we're doing with so I'm part of a project called 0x Soul, and what we're doing is we're actually um, attaching a non-transferable token, an LSP7, to the agentic profile, which will then make it so it's easily distinguishable.
Oh, so this is perfect for, yeah. So this is something that I was, looking.
Yeah, yeah,
That's quite the answer for my question.
yeah. So in that, I mean, it doesn't mean that everyone will do it, but it seems like
Yes, yes.
really, it seems like right
Wow,
now like a good solution for that, right? It provides that
amazing, beautiful.
clarity. Yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
be interested to see how that goes. Yeah, I think when people look at something like a data dashboard, they take for granted, like they take for granted what they're looking at. Like they see information, but I don't think they truly, not everyone truly grasps why it's important or what is unique or interesting about it. And like that's what this discussion is like uncovering if you're listening, if you're like a listener. Again, just to recap, all publicly available data that is referenced by the profile in a decentralized manner. Teodor, you have said, I am super interested in blockchain and what's going on. And I want you yourself, you just wanted to have a view into it. And without
Exactly.
having to ask anyone
And
any
with
permission.
absolutely. And with the ether scan, it was very problematic, right?
Yeah.
But now, because we have the profiles,
Yeah.
we can finally explore.
Yeah. It's truly an explorer. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And this is just the beginning, because with more and more standards and DAOs and everything that is possible on LUKSO, yeah, it's like, mission on the Mars.
Yeah, we're going to a place that people we have not explored before, and it's unique. It's super
Yeah.
unique. I I'm a big fan, and it fits right in with a lot of conversations that I'm having daily about how does a developer who is a full stack developer that has expertise with manipulating data, building applications that are data rich, they're a good React developer, let's say, how do they enter this blockchain world if the hurdle is make a custom contract? Many feel like yourself, I don't, that's a domain that I have to be aware of a lot of things that can be problematic, where LUKSO provides this unique opportunity where you can jump in and you can build really interesting applications by just looking into the data layer. And that's
Yeah.
what
You
profiles.
don't have to you don't have to be a smart contract developer. You can just focus yourself on the node data layer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's quite
Yes.
incredible. I see this as being super valuable. And not only do I see it as being valuable, I can see all of these ideas, like these pathways where you could, like we discussed, add artificial intelligence for inference. You could add as the data becomes more rich, where there's more there to look at. There's a lot more connections that can start to emerge and
Yes.
truly be mined. I mean, mind is the word I'm using, but like it's true. I mean, if you're interested in coming to some viewpoint, getting some information, getting a feel for what's happening on chain, you can do it with ProfileJump. You can get in there and you can figure it out. This is pretty cool, Theodore. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Important moment for myself was when this became useful for myself.
Yeah.
Right? Then I understand, if it is useful for myself, then it might be for someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, ideally, I mean, the necessity is the mother of invention. I mean, if we have an issue that kind of is
Yeah. Yeah.
the beginning of the motivation to go solve it. Um,
Yeah.
so like Good job. Way to solve your own problem.
I was thinking at some point, maybe I'm gonna leave this tool for myself.
Yeah. Not share it. You hoard it. So I have a couple questions for you here as we get towards the end of this conversation. Is like, as a developer who is trying to onboard into this ecosystem, like, what kind of friction points did you run up against, and like, what kind of feedback could you offer someone like myself who is actively working on documentation, or like, what kind of advice could you give new developers that might be looking to engage with the network and maybe make a mini app that put more data, that established more data? Like, what kind of advice could you give?
Just don't be afraid. The team is very helpful, friendly. Documentation is maybe few things are missing, but there is still a lot of information. And yeah, don't be afraid. And there are multiple options and quite unique features to explore that probably are not available on other blockchains.
Yeah. Unique value proposition here. And again, I think we've done a good job of exposing it with what you've built. Like, it is that data layer. It doesn't exist. I mean, there is data available. It's just not as easily accessible. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It's hard to read it.
Hard to
on
read.
Other blockchains.
It's hard.
I don't know if you had this feeling, but when you're moving from LUKSO to other blockchains, you got this feeling like, oh, I don't want to be here. Like when you're jumping from MetaMask to
yeah,
from universal profiles, like, oh, this is like, what is this?
As someone who is pretty crypto native, who has done plenty of transactions, once I found LUKSO, I went, this is sticky. This is better. Like, everything feels better about it. It's something that I've expressed, but like you said, you kind of have to experience both, and it's amazing how you kind of stay. Because when you go back to MetaMask, you're like, damn, I don't even know what I'm dealing with here.
Yeah,
it's not as straightforward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know, maybe it's me, but I have feeling like the applications are, in terms of user experience, are not on the similar level that they been quite long ago. Yeah, so it's like
they can't be.
It is quite boring.
It's impossible for them to be. I mean, it's one of the, listening to Fabian speak for years and internalizing like really thinking about what he said now, experiencing it, internalizing it, and working in it every day. You're building on unstable foundations. ERC20, the entire space was built upon the foundation of the token. And now you're limited as to what you can build, because every thought process has to begin with, I have a token. Okay, let me architect my system around this token, because that's where the value is. We're here on LUKSO. Every conversation starts with the profile and the data relative to the profile, and the token becomes more of an additional tool that can be used, but doesn't have to be used. There's so many other ways to work around this. Even something as simple as token-based voting, which is really one of, it's probably the dominant way to vote in DAOs out there in the rest of the EVM. Here, you could, in theory, just create a DAO using the permissions of the key manager. It's really a matter of how are you assigning those permissions, and that requires some custom logic and thought about it. However, no token necessary. All of it can be done with the profile, right? And all of that would exist as data that could then be represented. Like, who's eligible to vote and who's not eligible to vote in the DAO could all be represented. You're like, yeah, I've thought hard about this.
So in future, in ProfileJump, definitely there will be table with the DAOs.
Yeah.
And you can compare you can compare each DAO, the number of followers or number of different profiles that are part of the DAO. That would be amazing, to have this. You can press the DAO, the profile, and then inside you can see, oh, there is 6 profiles that share the access to this DAO.
That's right. And
then you can create like thousands of different statistics again, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
In ProfileJump, we love statistics.
And then you'll need a team of 50 people to maintain it. But
yeah, that's true.
One step at a time. One step at a time. Okay. Well, Teodor, I've had you for a solid hour, and it's been a pleasure to meet you and have the conversation.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to just send out to the universe before we end?
Yeah. So everybody's welcome on ProfileJump, and explore, please. Join us. Create a profile. Yeah, and view our ecosystem.
Yeah, awesome. You can check out ProfileJump.com on socials. Can they connect with you on Twitter at what? Lolostein? Is that what it is?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. We'll make sure we have all of this linked. I'm sure it's already linked to the Twitter post that people have engaged with this on, but I'm sure that when we recirculate, we'll make sure all your socials are linked so people can connect with you, Teodor.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fantastic. All right, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
I'm not sure how to leave this place.
Down in the right.
Okay, I see. I can see. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye, Teodor. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today. That's the third of our live streams this week. Hopefully you got something out of the conversation today with Teodor and the really data-rich layer that universal profiles provide. Talk to y'all soon.